From the Foghashing team, this is the C2 Immersion kit. We got the cooling kit, or the container itself. The C2 is a lot bigger than the C1. The container, the container that's out in the garage is about from the edge of this box to about here. And despite being fragile and having warnings and stuff on that, UPS did a really crappy job of taking care of this thing. My poor little wife had to drag both of these in, and they're actually pretty heavy. The dry cooler itself is huge, like absolutely huge. It does say this one is powered with C13. Remember the C1 that I got had a weird connector, and I had to adapt it for US standards. Wow. Okay. This is the pump that we saw at Mining Disrupt. This is a lot beefier. Let me get this box out of the way so you got some light. Yeah, boy. Okay, so this is a 220 volt, 50 hertz. A lot of it's just not translated. But I think it's 105 liters per minute. Ooh, damn, boy. 105 liters per minute. This looks like maybe an emergency redirect valve, or maybe a purge valve. Like pressure. I'm not going to mess with that. Okay. We got some marketing material in here. All right. Cool, cool. More marketing material. We got hoses. This looks like a power brick of some type. What is this for? Power brick for what? You send me a Caspa miner? Okay. So let's get this box. So, this is the actual container that we're looking with all this stuff in it. Here's the front that we're familiar with, right? So the LCD, you hit this button to start up. It gives you the readout, temperatures, pump speed, all that stuff. Make sure everything's good, and then you hit it again to start mining. We should be able to fit 2 Watts miners or 2 Bitmain amp miners in here, no problem. So, yeah. And then here's the tops. Oh, that's cool. This looks like it goes, this goes over the pump, and then this goes over the main area where you have your 2 amp miners or maybe 2 Watts miners. It doesn't look like I could fit 4 Watts miners, because you know the Watts miners are a little bit taller. They're just tall enough to where you can't fit 4. So let's put you guys back. Now this little Foghashing bag. Okay. The wifey might actually like that. Let's put that to the side for now. I got some clear hoses. Just take all this out. Ugh. Okay, this is some clear hoses and bracketry. So I don't really know how they plan to use this. I'll have to do some research. But these brackets right here are more or less, to me, I guess trying to hold the dry cooler, but I don't think so. Those brackets aren't big enough. Looks like we got some stickers, but then more importantly, these look like maybe some type of device used to maybe either trick something, you know, like the dummy connectors for the fans. Let's just set that on the table. These hoses are, I have another set for the C1, but they're smaller. So if I need to drain the unit for whatever reason, this will be a lot faster, because obviously that's a lot more liquid. And something fell out over here, so let me go grab that. Yeah, so here is a secondary pump right here. So the secondary pump is, again, all in a language I'm not quite familiar with. 12 volt, 5 amps, 5 liters per minute. So flow goes this way. There's a little arrow here. Let me go get the light for you guys. But So I would want to put this end in with one of the hoses into the bottom of the tank, and then this end into my bucket if I wanted to reverse flow. So let's see if you could see that. And that's what the DC connection is for. Okay, so that power brick that we were just looking at right here. So it takes the C13, and then that barrel plug goes in right there, and it's a 12 volt. I wonder if I could use this for one of the Caspa miners, like the Caspa KS0. LS1116 reserve pump, I guess you could say. Let's see here, O-rings. These are going to be very important. These O-rings go to the hoses, the inside of the hoses for your connections. Oh, we got some Dogecoin stickers. Dogecoin, Handshake, Cadena, Ethereum Classic, Nervos, Foghashing, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Foghashing, Litecoin. That's cool. I will add that to my sticker collection, but I don't know what these are. I mean, they look like a pinout. We got ground, VCC, core, or COM1, COM2, COM3, so communications. I have to figure out what that is. But that was in a little pack on the side. This side doesn't have anything. Oh, here's the manual right here. And let's take a look at the inside of this container real quick. So look how thick these hoses are, just for reference. It's about an 1.5 inches, I want to say, 1.5 inch hose, maybe 2 inch. And here's the actual container. So you could see the holes, the orifices, if you will, on this unit is a lot bigger compared to the C1. And this is where the fluid's going to be flowing into the unit and then flowing up and then cascading back in. This time, instead of over a lip, they got it cascading into these little vented areas down into the pump. And then down here, you got 2 sensors, probably temperature sensor and flow sensor, I want to say. And this type of connection right here that's going to the pump, I'm thinking that's power. That's how it gets it, you know, safely and securely in there. The hose connecting the pump is much more rigid compared to the rubber. And then look at the size of the fittings, right? So the fitting where the hoses go in, and I'm pretty sure this is your outlet, not your inlet. So that's your outlet. And you can see they did some testing, because if you look very carefully, the threads on these already had some type of tape or Teflon to it. You see that? So they obviously had to quality test it first before they shipped it to me, and then they cleaned it all up. I can see a little bit of scarring or scraping on the bottom, or maybe an ASIC was in here, which is fine. You know, again, quality testing, you got to make sure everything is working, got to make sure it's doing what it needs to. Before I even start this up, we could see little tiny particulates of cardboard down here. So if you get something like this, whether it's the C1 or C2, make sure that you clean it out. You know, vacuum it, blow it out, whatever, wipe it down. Do not let that get into the system. And then that's the front. Let's try to get this out of the box completely. It's got wheels on it, which makes life a lot better. All right. So here we go. We got, real quick, some ventilation on this end. If we look in there, I see very carefully some control boards, some power distribution boards, and really it's on the front side. Oh, the pump's on the front side this time. Okay. And then you could see the caster wheels. If I bring you guys, you could see very carefully, there's the caster wheels. Okay, looping around. Foghashing logo a little bit bigger. We got a peelable guy right here, but I'm not going to peel it just yet. Be careful, by the way, even though Foghashing does go through QC, you know, this is steel. If you run your fingers really fast across these edges, You will cut yourself, so do not do that. And the beautiful thing is, how the hell? Okay, so the container itself is powered by one C13, but it's a 240 volt, right? So make sure your power, right? I'm already on a 30 amp 240 volt breaker, so I'm good there. And that's cool, because on the C1, you have two of these, but then you would be able to plug in your miner in here with the cable. In this case, they're making us run our own cable, which is what it looks like. As you see here, I could probably like cut that, grommet it, because I'm probably going to have two Watts miners. You know, it would be really cool to work with Exxon Mining or Musk miners or anybody in the community, because I would like to put an M50 in here along with the M30S, but we'll see how things go. Not entirely sure, but yeah. So here's the inlet right here at the bottom. There's the outlet at the top, and then the back is just nothing. There's nothing there, and that's pretty much it. Let's see. You can see the bottom there. Front side looks a little bit vented, so that's just a pipe. The inlet is just a pipe that goes below the unit and then up. If you did replace these wheels, it does look like you could replace these caster wheels with other caster wheels if you really wanted to, but I don't see why you would want to. That's actually rolling really easy on my carpet, so that's not bad whatsoever. And that is the container. Matter of fact, if connectivity would allow me, we'll probably go over and take a look at the C1 unit in the garage that's working right now. I'm impressed. So I looked at this pump. This pump is really big. This is basically a biodiesel pump. Not sure what that red thing is. I'm pretty sure that's like an overpressure regulator of some type. We'll see. And that's pretty much the container. Now let's take a look at the dry cooler. You can see the pipes right on the side. I believe hot side is the pipe closest to the ground. Cold side is the one higher up. You see that? So hot side, cold side. But I will review the instructions. So this, again, the dry cooler, if we look very carefully, is 240 volt, 440 watts max. All right. Manufacturer says cold spring on it. We got two boxes. I'm believing one is a temperature sensor, but we'll see. So this side over here with the holes on the bottom, this is the bottom. This is what will be mounted to the concrete that I have to pour and reinforce because I live in hurricane land. This copper right here, honestly, would probably be somebody's wet dream. I think it's copper mixed with, some of my plumbers will correct me, copper mixed with brass or something like that. But look at all those intricate welds and stuff that they did to create this. This is a giant cooler, but also if that snaps or breaks at that point, you know, you're kind of SOL. I mean, you could solder it back together, but what I would probably recommend and probably try to do for my household is once I get this thing mounted, probably build like a protective 3D print or protective cowl to go over all that. One that's removable and go from there. Looks like we can't remove the radiator shroud itself because they're riveted. But we got two fans, two big boy fans. And this connects with one connector. So this will actually plug directly into my PDU, but I'm going to need to for what I'm thinking or what I want to do, I'm gonna have to consider this in my plans because this needs to sit outside. There's no way in hell it's gonna sit in the garage. There's no way in hell. The C1 heat-wise is already saturating the garage, especially in 110 degree index, 98 degree Florida day, which is hotter in Jacksonville than it is in Miami, which is odd to me. Look at the fan blades. The fan blades are a little bit different. The C1 had more blades and not as steep of a swoop, I guess you could say. And oddly, they got counterweights on there. If you look very carefully on that blade, there's a counterweight there and a counterweight there. So, I mean, that dry cooler is huge, guys. That's basically, if you look at the GN mod mat, that dry cooler is basically the length of the GN mod mat, but obviously thicker. The thickness of the dry cooler, if we pull this down a little bit, you could see that's basically, I would say about 7 inches, maybe 7.5 inches tall. So you got to factor that into your plans as well. The fact that they laid it down like this will hopefully be a good thing, because the fin stacks, or the fins, it's going to be on the reverse side, and if anybody kicked this, you know, then the fin blades are going to be bent up a little bit. We got 4 main screws or bolts. These look like, I want to say 14 or 15 millimeter. They routed the power through the shroud itself, so we're getting power to both of these. I love the connectors they use. And look, they have the markings. You see the markings? Kind of like what you would do when you're torquing a bolt, right? Everything is torqued to spec. That's pretty cool. I like that. I love that. So a little bit, showing me a little bit of quality of fog hashing. I like it. I know some of my colleagues said that there's a dry cooler that has a smaller footprint than this and will outperform this unit, this dry cooler. But Fog Hashing has been the only one that's been willing to work with me and go above and beyond for me. So I am not going to complain whatsoever. So anyways, we got our protective caps there. We got our O-rings. We're going to need to plumb in the hoses. And before my power goes out, let's go take a look at the C1 unit out in the garage. So the C1 unit, and you can see how much smaller the pump is. Look how small that pump is compared to the one we just looked at. It's got the Whatsminer M30S. It's really hot. It's really, really hot. But you can see, look how beautiful that fluid looks. That is crystal clear fluid, man. So beautiful. Fog Hashing does sell their fluid. If you're interested, you should definitely check them out. And yeah, this is just the Whatsminer M30S chilling up here. And let me make sure the lid's on there. I had to open up the sides. All the panels are right there. Matter of fact, I'm selling this. I'll put all the panels back on before I do. I'm selling this and upgrading to the C2 unit. If anybody is interested in purchasing it from me, you can see the cooler. The fan is only a single fan, and it's again, the blades aren't designed the same. If I could turn it off right now, you would see a completely different blade design. But it pushes out some pretty good air. I love this radiator. Like, if I had a B18 or B16 Civic, this radiator will probably be like perfect, because this is actually about 1.5 inches thick. The welds on it are beautiful. Or this would be a really good, you know, transmission cooler for a decent diesel truck or whatever. Problem is, you see it gets dirty, you know, the pollen and all that stuff. Like all the pollen on top of the car gets sucked in, and so every once in a while when I shut it down, I gotta clean it out. Some bugs get stuck in here as well. And you can see I have to use the C19 or C20 to C19 power cable for the Whatsminer, which is why the hole in the back is open so the cable could go through, because inside all they have is the C13's type connection. So I had to remove that, and this PDU would be maxed out with the C2 kit. And not only that, the breaker would, right? So if I'm gonna run 2 Whatsminers at 3,300 watts, we're gonna be encroaching upon that 7,200 watts. And look how hot it is in here. Look at that. Welcome to Florida, man. The Bitscool 888 from Engineering Fluids, or Engineered Fluids, I don't know why I keep saying Engineering Fluids, is one of the best liquids I've ever used. You get a lot of people online in various crypto forums that speak to this particular fluid and its you know, reliability, sustainability, how it's environmentally friendly, and so I tried it and I cannot complain. You know, initially, and if you paid attention to my channel, and I got 3 more, and we should have enough for the C2 unit. Let's get back into the AC. So Foghashing does sell liquids, but you know, I was unfortunately a victim of UPS. It wasn't Foghashing's fault, it was UPS's fault, where, you know, they basically broke the crap out of the containers, and the containers leaked all over the UPS lady's truck. So if they didn't do that, I would have taken the containers, but unfortunately that's what sometimes happens in shipping, especially with stuff like this. But I am glad everything looks good. The only thing we haven't checked is flipping this bad boy over and making sure the fins are okay. Regardless if the fins are okay or not, it's still going to perform. So I'm fine with it. I'm going to box all this stuff back up, put it to the side, and we'll do a video where I want you all to comment and let's brainstorm together a plan. And some of my friends are in the, some of my crypto community guys and ladies are in the Jacksonville area. If we want to schedule out something, you guys want to help out, you ladies and gentlemen want to help out, we'll figure it out. But we got to figure out a secure, economical, efficient, and sturdy way to mount this to the ground. If we put this on my wall, my concrete wall on the side, I have a feeling a hurricane would just rip that bad boy off. If we put it on the floor and we just get a basic pad like from Home Depot, one of those little plastic ABS pads, I'm pretty sure a hurricane would just fly this thing across the world. So we have to find a strong, economical way, and then I got to find a cowl or some type of protective cover to put over this. You know, it's okay if it gets wet or whatever, but you know, direct wind, direct, you know, sticks, debris, rocks being blown into it, probably not so much. So some type of protective cover and a way to securely mount this to the ground is going to be a problem that we need to figure out. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This I want to keep on the inside of the garage, but I got to reorganize because you saw how cluttered it is. I got to get the TL either working or out of the garage. And I don't want to get rid of it, man. That's a 6-speed TL. And then I got to figure out how we're going to run the hoses, including the power for the fan, because don't forget, we got to account for this, through the wall in a good way to where it doesn't interfere with anything, electrical, piping, whatever it might be, in a nice, secure way, and then obviously seal it to prevent bugs or anybody silly getting into the house. But these are some pretty beefy hose, I would say. They look pretty long. You can see actually very carefully, if you look in there, you can actually see the connector. All right, so it's the same connector, similar to the inside of the pump right here, that we plug into. And then we just have, again, our outlet. So that's going out into the radiator. And then we have our inlet. So the cool is coming in from the radiator back into here, flowing up from the bottom, and then cascading through, right? The heat rises and cascades through back into here, and then drains back down. I'm assuming, yep, if you look very carefully, the bottom of the pump is kind of left untapped. You see that down there? Let me see if I can show you. So right here, it's got a nice little gap to where it can suck in the liquid. And I thank you for, you know, just being a great community as you have been. But yeah, I need to get another ASIC for the C2 Immersion kit. We'll see how things go. Container, dry cooler, a bunch of hoses and accessories. We'll see how things go. So welcome to my house. You guys saw the most of my house that I think I've ever shown before. I'm just a regular guy like you, all working at home or maybe in a small office to hash away secure networks, keep the network decentralized, and participate in some form or fashion. So you guys keep hashing, stay strong, stay positive out there. Hopefully the markets will pick up one day. And Foghashing, thank you for working with me. And for everybody that helps support this channel, I thank you very much. So hit the like button on the way out, make sure to get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out some of the links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.